So I'm here today with my friend Justin Popovich.
Hello.
And we were just talking about setting the bar. And you know, as an entrepreneur or in Justin's example as a charity fundraiser, where do you set the bar? Do you set it to an achievable goal? Do you set it really high to a point where maybe it's out of your reach, but you're still going to work towards it? Justin, you had an interesting story to share, and I think you should share it.
Well, I think when it comes to setting goals or setting your target on something you want to achieve, it's kind of a personal decision, and I think it depends on your threshold for failure acceptance, if you want to call it that. So the example I always like to share with people is about, I guess it'll be 2 years ago. I wanted to do a fundraiser for a children's hospital in Toronto. It's called Sick Kids Hospital. And my wife and I we have 2 young children, so we're passionate about helping out the kids. So it was something that was meaningful for us. And at the time, I was really, really ambitious. I had all kinds of goals I was working on. I was hitting a lot of them, so I was in the state of mind where I could take on the world. And we're not always in that state of mind, so again, you have to kind of judge where you're at. But I set this goal to achieve or to raise $25,000. And I gave myself about 3 weeks to pull it off. So I wanted to raise 25 grand for the children's hospital.
And this is in a small town, remember. We live in a small town. We're not in a big city with lots of big corporate sponsors kicking around.
Yeah. And the way I came up with that number was literally, you go into this program and there's like the thermometer there. And I had to pick what's the top of my thermometer. And most people were doing like 2 grand or 3 grand or 5. And again, I was in that state of mind. I said, let's make it 25. What's the harm in doing it? But I knew myself better than that. So what I did was I went crazy. I wrote press releases to a couple local papers saying this is what I was going to do. I didn't say I was going to try to. I claimed this is what I was going to do. And so they covered it, wrote a story, and my name was out there. I really had to pull this off. And so the stress went up, but I worked really hard, and eventually it was a big failure in terms of my number. We hit $7,000. So you got to ask the question. It's cool because I didn't know anyone else who would raise $7,000 for the children's hospital, but I came way, way short of my number, and that information was now public. So in the public opinion, I was a failure, and I had to learn to kind of build up a thick skin and get over that. And I think you're kind of good with that too, Brad. It's not so much about the goal per se as it is the action you're taking and just moving towards it. Because we've now done, this is the 3rd year we're doing this fundraiser. Probably by next year we actually will hit close to $25,000 in terms of accumulation. So in my opinion, it's a good way of setting a goal. Set it really high and just go for it and learn to not care so much about what people think about you.
And where would you be had you set that goal at $5,000?
That's right. If I set it at 5,000, I may have hit 5,000. I may have come up short of that. So it would have cost myself at least 2 grand that first year. So it's something to think about.
So setting the bar high in your case definitely made a difference on your end result, which is the important thing to remember here. But I think the charity story is a good example because so many times we see these thermometers. The charities are trying to raise $100,000 for this or $1 million for that, and they're moving that thermometer up. And all of us as entrepreneurs, sometimes we don't have our own internal thermometer. And maybe, if you take anything out of this video, maybe the goal is, or maybe the take home for you is to put a thermometer on your business goals, on your sales goals, and to put them out there on a poster on your office or something and start metering those numbers.
Yeah, if you really want to get ambitious, I would say declare those goals public. I mean, we do this all the time. When people know what you're trying to achieve, and it's not just your own mentality saying, hey, you got to hit this goal, but there's like 500 people holding you accountable, you're going to work a lot harder.
Yeah.
If you book yourself to do your first speech at Toastmasters next Monday and you can't get out of it, you're going to go and write your speech and you're going to work on it. You're not going to say, oh, I'll write it another time. You're going to do it.
Yeah.
So put yourself in a position to be held accountable and just accept the fact that it may not go to plan, but you're going to move way closer to your goal because you're taking that action.